Going live.
We are. Got it.
All right. Okay. So we're back. Hello, everyone. This is a new episode of Moviemood. I'm your host, Alex Van Horn.
I'm John Alberto.
And today we're talking about, since it's been a while since we've done this. Oh, it's raining outside. We want to talk about some movies that we're high on right now, movies that have been coming out this year, movies that interest us, and then talk a little bit about old Hollywood.
Love it. Yeah, let's get right into it. First of all, just since it has been a while, what is the most recent movie you've watched, Alex, and what did you think of it?
So the most recent movie that has come out this year, or what was the last movie I watched?
What is the last thing you watched? What is on top of mind for you?
Oh, yeah, so I watched. I've been keeping track of it. I watched a movie called History is Made at Night, which is something. It's kind of a little bit of a romantic comedy. It's kind of a mixed genre movie. I saw something in. I was reading the New Yorker because I'm very cultured. And it was about a director I never heard of named Frank Borzage. I think I'm saying that right. But he did A Farewell to Arms, the movie version of it, which I haven't seen. And he was apparently one of the great directors, but I just haven't watched any of his stuff. So I watched the first thing I could find on Criterion Channel. And it was pretty great. It was pretty fun. It was just like, had some very light moments, had some very dark moments, but very romantic, light comedy for the most part.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was very Titanic towards the end. It was basically a Titanic movie.
Oh, then I would probably like it.
Yeah, you should check it out.
There's
plenty of iceberg.
Is there a lot of iceberg in it?
There's a lot of iceberg.
Okay, well then I will certainly enjoy it, and I will check it out immediately.
History is Made at Night, Frank Borzage.
All right.
How about you, John? What was the last thing you watched?
Well, this morning on my summer break, I watched His Girl Friday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through a list.
Yeah.
Good Howard Hawks, Cary Grant movie from the early 40s, I believe. And yeah, it was fun. It was fast. It was fast-paced, good energy. Also,
that dialogue.
Yeah, great dialogue.
Yeah.
It's like whipping dialogue. I couldn't keep up with it, which is very rare to watch an old movie like that and not be able to keep up with it. But
yeah, I think that's something that's I feel like I don't see as much maybe than an Aaron Sorkin film where characters are talking that fast and are like blah, 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 can like say a paragraph in like a second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was reading up on the director of the movie, Howard Hawks, and it. I heard that he had influenced like Scorsese and Tarantino, and I was like, yeah, I see that. Definitely.
Yeah. Tarantino's real crazy about Rio Bravo. That's another really good Howard Hawks movie. It's kind of like, I feel like all those big directors, they had like one movie after World War II that was their like I'm back and I'm traumatized and I'm gonna make this great movie. And Rio Bravo is Howard Hawks's for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right on.
And him and John Ford are kind of like the big, titans of old Hollywood, which we will talk about
soon
quite a bit. Yeah. What about this year? Is there anything that's kind of popped off for you this year?
Things that I've seen this year in the theaters that really stood out for me. I've said this many times on this show, but I like to just go to the theater and have fun. And I can't think of a more fun movie than Top Gun.
For sure.
Yeah.
For real. I agree. Yeah. I also really loved Top Gun Maverick. Different than the first Top Gun, which you and I are both super fans of. We love the original Top Gun. It's but Top Gun Maverick is a different thing, but it's a very, very entertaining thing.
Yeah, it's incredibly entertaining, and it was so worth it to go see in theaters. just the spectacle of it all, the practical effects, shooting in planes, I think.
Yeah, and real planes that are like whooshing around, and yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like from the beginning. I mean, there's a lot of similar stuff to Top Gun, where they have throwback. A lot of the characters are very similar. Hangman is kind of like Iceman, and Goose's son, played by Miles Teller, is a little bit like Maverick, I guess. But one of the best things I thought about it was just how consistently like nonstop entertaining that movie is. It's just very like right from the beginning. It's like Maverick is going to like break the sound barrier, and
right. It reminded me of like a goofy fictionalized Right Stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, it's like if Chuck Yeager was like flying planes nowadays, and the planes were like, oh, they're gonna break not only the sound barrier, but it's gonna break like a different dimension. And I don't know. We were also talking about how like nobody really dies, and that, spoiler alert, nobody really. There's one death, but it seems like a lot of people come out unscathed of some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, I mean the like we've mentioned, the mission is very compelling, and we're very glad to see that people made it through okay.
Definitely, for sure.
Just a feel good movie. Was there a particular young pilot that stood out to you in?
Oh, like which was my favorite?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Miles Teller was pretty great. He's really grown on me as an actor, and but yeah, who's your favorite?
Oh, Hangman.
Oh yeah, I know.
Hangman was absolutely my favorite.
I already know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hangman is he's pretty great. He definitely steals the show. He's kind of like he's like, I was thinking about it, he's like Iceman and Maverick.
Yeah, they've all got there are definitely parallels, but they're not exact. Like
yeah.
Hangman's kind of got definitely Maverick traits, because if you go back to 80s Top Gun, Iceman, who was my favorite character in the original Top Gun, of course, was very by the books. He thought that Tom Cruise was a liability, but
True.
it seems like Hangman was a little bit more edgy than Iceman would have been.
Yeah, he was. He was maybe a little bit more like Maverick in the first one. It was definitely like the daredevil, like kind of an asshole who's like kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Miles Teller, I mean, I guess you could probably say is more like Goose, because he's Goose's son. What do you think of the last maybe 15-20 minutes of the movie?
Okay, so that was when they were kind of on the ground.
Yeah, they crashed, and and then they were kind of reconnecting. Am I on the right page here? Yeah.
Oh, it was solid. I liked who came in to save the day. I liked their bonding moments, and at the end of the movie, after those 15 minutes, I walked out feeling good about everything. I felt positive about aviation. I felt positive about Tom Cruise's career, and in particular, I felt positive about the bond between Maverick and Rooster.
That's right, Rooster. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because I didn't feel like I could expect where the ending was going, and it was a pretty great ending, very action packed. Also, I felt like more than a sequel to Top Gun, it seemed almost like more similar to Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible movies, which are also awesome. but yeah, we were talking about how our dads are both like prefer the first Top Gun.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was the only person that I asked, have you seen Top Gun and what did you think? And he said Top Gun Maverick. And he was like, oh, it was okay. I'm like,
Yeah, right.
it was awesome. But yeah, kind of going back to that point about Top Gun Maverick being more like a Mission Impossible movie. Tom Cruise in these past couple of years, he's been making, and he has his own production company now and everything like that. And he's been making a lot of bangers, but they're all in that very similar vein. He has those few directors that he works with. He has, he's really into practical effects, and people have been calling him the last true movie star or something like that. I don't necessarily know what that means, but
Yeah.
whatever he's doing is working for him. And
Yeah,
kudos to him.
yeah. I mean, almost any like non-Marvel movie that's good or is like a big giant budget movie, I'm like, oh man, like that's awesome. Like the movie The Northman. Even though now that I think about it, I don't like it as much as I did when I first saw it, but yeah, but just the fact that like it's not a superhero movie, I'm like, yeah. But Tom Cruise definitely has, at least in his later years, it seems like he has more creative control than in his early years.
Yes.
And I mean, you can kind of tell because like in this Top Gun, like they're really trying to make him into a nice guy. Like Maverick is like, he's coming around, And the first Top Gun, he's terrible. He's like,
he is kind of awful.
he's like, he's basically like Hangman, but we're kind of rooting for him, maybe.
Yeah, because it's presented from his perspective. Yeah. But yeah. Do you remember Tim Robbins in the original Top Gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shows up. I'm there for that.
Yeah, he's Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin.
Something. Yeah.
But
yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I like even though I guess it technically is a franchise movie because Top Gun was a movie that came out back in the 80s, I like seeing a big budget, bombastic, fun, just entertaining movie that isn't, necessarily a superhero movie or a Marvel movie or anything like that, which, it's good to see and it's good to enjoy.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a fantastic movie to see in the theaters, and yeah, it's definitely been one of my favorites of the year so far. Are there any other movies that you're high on these days for this year?
For this year, let me see what I got. I'm looking at the highest grossing films of the year, and I've seen a few of them right now. None of them really like blew me away. Like I thought, Doctor Strange was fun. It was fun, but it wasn't like mind blowing. There wasn't madness. And Jurassic World was pretty disappointing. But let me see what I've actually seen this year. That's the one I was missing. Elvis.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, tell me about Elvis because I haven't really seen it, and it's been one that I've been coming around to.
Yeah. So Elvis is Baz Luhrmann's newest movie. Director of Moulin Rouge, Romeo and Juliet, Great Gatsby, among a few other things, Strictly Ballroom. And he, the best way I would describe the way he makes his movies is like with just this kind of manic energy and just over the top, lavish style. And it's really kind of perfect for a movie about Elvis, who, was known for his over the top lavish style, spending years in Vegas, all of that. And it works on every level. The performances are great. Austin Butler, who plays Elvis, is absolutely terrific. Tom Hanks is like interesting. It's an interesting performance. It's not bad. It's just not your normal Tom Hanks, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking how many like movies he's actively a villain in, and I guess he's sort of a villain in this movie.
Yeah, he's definitely the antagonist.
Yeah.
His character is definitely presented in a very negative light.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like Elvis's kind of manager, I would say.
Mm.
Have you ever noticed in music biopics that the manager is always presented in the worst light?
Oh yeah,
Like all the time.
that's true. The manager is always the villain in a music biop.
I guess
Yeah,
it's like movie producers think we need a villain or something, and they're like, who can we make the villain?
Yeah, they're just like touring. Like, there's no story there. Like, we gotta make the producer. We gotta make the manager the bad guy. Well,
I want to see a movie where, like, I want to see a movie where like it's a music biopic and they make like a rival band the villain or something like that, and they're just going for it. Like a movie about the Beatles or something, and the Rolling Stones are just like portrayed as.
I think they were like kind of friendly with each other, but
they were, yeah.
Yeah, they should just make it. They should make it.
They should just make a fake conflict for the sake of storytelling.
And we hate the Beatles. We hate you guys. Y'all suck. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like it's either like it's something like where you have like Walk the Line, where you have the dad is the villain, or you have like Straight Outta Compton, where the manager is the villain. Yeah, I always got to find somebody.
Yeah, the Brian Wilson movie, I forget what it's called, but the manager's the villain in that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, what was he was like almost not even a manager. He was like, yeah, creepy dude. But yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yep.
Also played by
Paul Mercy, I think. Yeah, Paul Giamatti is a terrific actor.
He is.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been like getting typecast in like abuse manager roles. Yeah.
That's a interesting niche.
You were saying something earlier about Elvis that I liked, how you're kind of comparing Elvis to like a Scorsese movie a little bit.
Huh? Yeah, it was a hot take, I think, but I think Baz Luhrmann and Martin Scorsese have very, very similar styles. Mm-hmm. They definitely present these larger than life characters, and they present it in a very fast-paced, high energy way, where it's just like the energy level is nonstop throughout the movie, and I really like that about both of them. Maybe that's something about me having a short attention span, I don't know, but at the same time, both of their movies in general are fairly long movies. Like a Martin Scorsese movie is usually 2.5 hours plus. A Baz Luhrmann movie is 2.5 hours plus, but it works.
Yeah, they're all pretty like, they're not boring.
No,
or like 2-hour movies. Sometimes I'm surprised. I'm like, oh yeah, that movie was like 3 hours, but
yeah,
still fun. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, The Wolf of Wall Street is like 3 hours long. It feels like hour 45.
Yeah, you can pop it in any day.
Yeah.
That's a fast watch.
Yeah.
Think about the movies I've seen. So I mean, right now I'm like pretty high on Nope. I'm not sure. Should I save that for when you see it, or should I talk about something else?
Well, talk about it, but don't spoil it for me.
Okay.
Like I know very, very little about it. Tell me what you liked about it, though, but don't tell me what you don't like about it.
In general, I liked it a lot. I have a friend of mine who totally hated it. I don't know why. He hasn't really elaborated on it, but I loved it. I thought it was his best movie since Get Out, and that's a pretty high bar to set yourself up for. And I think it's about as good. There are a few parts I was like,
you think it's as good as Get Out?
I do.
Wow, that is a high bar.
I think it is. and it's different. It's a different movie. I think a lot of the like big themes are like kind of unspoken because it's such a genre movie. But I mean, it mixes a lot of different genres. But I thought it was fantastic. Going to see it in the theater was amazing, like in a packed theater.
Yep.
It was really fun. And I just kept thinking about different scenes, and I was like, I really want to watch it again.
Nice.
Yeah. And there's some parts where like, because it's shot in IMAX, like there's these motorcycle scenes, and I was just kind of like, it feels like a Dark Knighty kind of shot, falling around a motorcycle with the IMAX. But yeah, I'll wait till you see it to start really talking about it. Another movie that I feel like, one movie that I feel like wasn't really talked about as much I saw recently that I totally loved was called Watcher. With I'm blanking on her name. She's from in the horror film It Follows, but it's a really good, like very slow burn thriller horror type thing. Just really well put together, set in Romania. Yeah, I'm really pretty wild about it. It reminded me of like movies from the 70s a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else in this year that really stood out to you?
Hustle.
Hustle? Yeah.
Did you see that one?
Nope.
Really?
No, I saw no, I truly didn't.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I've only seen a few. I've only seen a few new releases this year so far. I've only seen 7 movies.
My
list.
Here are my, well, Hustle is amazing. Some other ones that I would talk about. I would talk shit about the new Thor. I didn't like it.
I haven't seen it.
Spiderhead, I thought was really good. I didn't really understand why people didn't, because it got a bad rating. I thought it was pretty good. Same with Men, the horror movie Men.
I wanted to see that one. Was it?
It was great.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it wasn't like, it was kind of coming off of that like trend of like movies like Get Out, where they're like, there's this big theme and it's like a horror movie. But I felt like it was, I felt like it wasn't meant to be taken that way, but it was also kind of like, was kind of playing around with it. I don't know, but I liked it. I thought it was good.
Right on.
Yeah. Did you see the movie The Bubble?
The Bubble. It rings a bell.
Yeah.
The Bubble.
It's another.
Wait, the animated movie?
No, it's a Judd Apatow movie on Netflix.
Oh.
Yeah. But I liked it, but I understand a lot of people didn't really like it. But I think they're wrong. I thought it was pretty good.
And that's what's great about movies, it doesn't matter what other people think. I recently started giving everything 5 stars on Letterboxd because it's not my job to criticize anything. If I enjoy it, great. If not, then
it's
okay.
I was doing that for a while too, because like at the end of the day, like I just enjoy like watching a movie, like even if it's bad, I learned something from it. So yeah. It's the experience.
And I'm sure like there's got to be a movie that's like truly, truly awful out there, but there's got to be something you can probably take something out of it.
Yeah.
Even like a so bad it's good kind of thing, but
yeah, you can always, even The Dark Knight Rises.
Even The Dark Knight Rises had a good last. It had that's what I liked about The Dark Knight Rises. It had the guy from The Wire in it. Had the mayor from The Wire in it at the beginning.
Did? Oh yeah,
it was like the CIA guy.
Yeah, Littlefinger.
Yeah, Littlefinger, Mayor Carcetti. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Maverick Arquetti.
Yeah.
Was that your favorite character from The Wire?
My favorite character from The Wire is Bubbles.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the heart of the show, really.
Yeah. There,
So
there are so many good characters on The Wire. I can't just choose.
oh yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta
I
like
like them
String
all.
a bit. You gotta like McNulty a little bit.
Oh, I love McNulty.
Yeah, and yeah,
And
Lester Cool.
I like the lawyer that's not necessarily good.
Hmm.
Do you know which one I'm talking
Is he
about?
bald?
Um, is he bald? No, he's not bald.
Hmm. Oh, I was thinking about a different lawyer. I don't think anybody likes that guy.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, there's so many good characters. Um, but yeah, it's been a good year for movies so far. I'm excited for you to see Nope.
yeah, I'm excited to see Nope too.
Yeah. So do we want to talk a little bit about old Hollywood a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about old Hollywood. Let's do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been starting to like kind of watch a little bit more of the old Hollywood stuff, from black and white era. I knew you were starting to watch some stuff too, right?
I was, yeah. And I still am. I'm still on that journey.
Nice. So you watched His Girl Friday. Are there any other ones that you've watched in recent that
So
have
my journey into old Hollywood started because I was on a Clark Gable kick.
yeah.
Yeah, just a cool dude. But a few days ago, you sent me a list of movies that I should check out, and I've been watching the ones that I can find. And I watched Detour the other day.
Yeah.
That was a quick watch.
Yeah, I was looking at it's like 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's like an hour
Yeah.
of just this dude making horrible decisions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like so many of like the noir characters are just dumb and and just like I went there and I killed her.
Yeah.
I had to bury her and then I had to get out of there quick. And I was real scared. And like I like the dude from Detour might be
And no one would believe me.
Yeah. Dude, you were sketch. Yeah, the dude from Detour is just making poor decisions.
Yeah.
24/7.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like very low budget too, which I like.
Yeah, it was made by like a very minor production company. It wasn't like RKO or Paramount or anything like that. It was
yeah.
And
Yeah, there's like some documentary about the guy who directed it. He was like he was like kind of a mysterious guy and like he was I think he might have been like Austrian and he like claimed that he worked on all these like 30s German silent films, but like no one can find any evidence that he was like ever there. But he just said that he did, so it's like but yeah, that's like his one mysterious like classic movie that is kind of just there. It's a gem.
why do you think it kind of stood the test of time, bearing in mind that there were a lot of film noir movies coming out at the time, a lot of movies that were made by bigger companies, those things. Why did little old Detour,
Yeah,
why is it still culturally and aesthetically significant?
I think it's probably like how weird it is because it's very weird. And like all my favorite noir movies, and I think a lot of people's favorite noir movies are like almost like David Lynch movies a little bit. They're just like weird and like obviously the main character is like disturbed and crazy and sometimes dumb.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's a weird movie. And I think that's why people have just kept coming back to it.
Okay.
And you can kind of see that it's like low budget. It's not my favorite noir movie, but it's certainly an interesting one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What are some other older movies you've been watching? I guess we talked about His Girl Friday, but
Yeah, I talked about His Girl Friday already. Just a minute here. I was watching some, and I talked about my Clark Gable kick, but I was watching some silent movies actually because
no way.
I really wanted to experience the earliest days of film and get some enjoyment out of that because that's not really something I've done much so far. But I watched like Nosferatu
Yeah.
as part of my vampire kick, and I watched
Oh
a
yeah.
bunch of
Talk about
Keaton
that.
movies, and I think what I really like about silent movies is just the soundtrack and obviously the visuals because dialogue wasn't a huge part of those. They have the screen cards and everything like that, so
Yeah.
they couldn't do too much through narration and dialogue. They had to focus on visuals and just soundtrack,
Yeah.
which is which is cool. It's hard work and a lot of them stand out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think some of the best directors of like the Hollywood era were people that started out, making silent films and thinking about films as silent films, and because they have a very distinctive visual style, and you have to like, one shot has to like show an emotion or something. So, silent films definitely do that. And if you watch like older Hollywood movies, like sometimes they'll do like the chiaroscuro thing, and sometimes it's like I think the only person that ever really does something like that is Scorsese. Will sometimes do that like in like modern times, but usually it kind of sticks out. Like if there's some kind of very specific visual thing like that. But yeah, I love silent films too.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed as I've been watching some, I'll say pre 1950s movies, is that the scenes are much longer than
Yeah,
what we're used to today. The movies are shorter, but the scenes are much longer.
yeah,
And I don't know if that's speaking to our attention span as a society or what, but or the budget of the films or
yeah.
that. But that was just something that I've been noticing with those.
They also built all those sets, so
True.
they really like go outside much. I feel like they're like cutaways to the outside, but like everything in like Gone with the Wind and His Girl Friday in particular, like it's all like a set, almost like a play, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And His Girl Friday was actually based on a play. I just learned that.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Which you could tell because that dialogue.
Because that dialogue is lightning fast.
Yeah, that's the best part, the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of Gone with the Wind?
Um, so yeah, Gone with the Wind. You know, uh, I'm 30 years old watching Gone with the Wind for the first time, but it's one of those movies where you appreciate it for what it is. There's definitely grandeur and scope to it, and interesting lead characters. At the same time, it is certainly a product of its time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of movies. I mean, once you watch a lot of them, you kind of like take them with a grain of salt. You're like, okay, this is gonna
Yeah.
have
Or a
you
few
know,
grains of salt. Yeah.
yeah, a certain amount of racism or sexism or whatever. Yeah,
Mm. But
certainly. Yeah.
the burning of Atlanta scene is pretty remarkable
Oh yeah.
for a movie that was released in 1939. So
Yeah. One of the things I really like, especially about like pre-50s movies, is that if it's in color, usually all the color is like there's nothing wasted with the color.
mhm.
Like everything is like bright and like super red or like super blue, and like it almost looks like a little like I don't know, like it's very unreal.
Yeah, and you're the technical expert here, and like
Yeah.
I know most of those movies were like Technicolor or whatever, um, like like movies like The Wizard of Oz and stuff like that. Were they actually shot on colored film, or or was it something that was
So,
done
like
post production?
Technicolor is crazy because I got really into somebody to add to the list is the Powell and Pressburger movies, which Scorsese is wild about. He basically like restored all of those movies. And those are like the craziest Technicolor movies because they're doing, like crazy stuff that like Scorsese would be doing, but with I mean a Technicolor camera is huge. And I think it had like different lenses for different colors.
Hmm.
Kind of crazy. Like there's nothing like that we have that is used anymore. So looking at it like, all the colors are very specific and like they thought a lot about the color, like which colors would be in which shot. And
It almost looks like a painting.
yeah,
It
definitely.
almost looks not real, like compared to watching a movie today. Where it looks like when you watch a scene, it looks like you're watching reality. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And certainly like, yeah, the colors in Gone with the Wind and that same year, Wizard of Oz are just very impactful. Like the reds and Gone with the Wind are very strong with the sunsets and all that.
yes,
The
yes,
blood. There's a lot of blood that's in it, actually.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which do you prefer, the first half of with the Wind or the last half?
I prefer the last half.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you?
I think I like the first half, and then up to like right after the um Battle of Atlanta, I'm not as interested. I also haven't seen it in a while. But when the carpetbaggers come in, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know me. I like those family dynamic kind of movies.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, that's when it gets kind of interesting between Clark Gable and her too. Oh
yes,
yeah, doesn't the kid dies? Isn't there a kid that dies? Am I wrong?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I forgot about all that. Yeah. You know what's similar now that I'm thinking about it is Barry Lyndon.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
That
Like the first half is very, uh,
fact.
battle heavy, and and then the second half is just watching a relationship collapse, and seeing
He's
seeing
just
how personal
miserable now.
tragedy affects life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do I mean I generally start to turn off towards the end of the last half of Barry Lyndon, but it's still pretty amazing.
Mm. I think I like the second half better. Of
And
Barry
Barry Lyndon,
Lyndon. Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Yep. I can see that. Very similar. Yeah. Has there been any other older films you've been watching?
Let's see. I did rewatch Citizen Kane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched Mutiny on the Bounty, another Clark Gable one,
Nice.
and
I haven't seen that. Actually, I haven't seen that one yet.
yeah, and It Happened One Night.
Yeah,
Um,
what did you think of that one?
oh, I love it. It's kind of early rom com, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of only three movies that won all five of the major Oscars. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like picture, director, screenplay, and actor and actress.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yep. But
Yeah, it's a good one. I generally like the like slapstick. Do you call it slapstick romantic comedy?
I would. I
Like
would.
His Girl Friday, like that era. Cary Grant.
Hmm. Cary Grant was kind of a cool dude.
He
Gotta
was.
what?
He was. I'm a fan.
Yeah, yeah,
You
absolutely.
check out also Notorious by Alfred Hitchcock.
I know. I couldn't find it on my streaming services.
Oh man.
I know. I'll have to go to the library and check it out.
Yeah, what's up with these great movies not being on the streaming services?
I know, and you would think that like some of these movies are in the public domain, they should just be available to watch. I don't know if Notorious is, but
Mm-hmm.
I know His Girl Friday is in the public domain. I know Detour's in the public domain. So
What's your take on Citizen Kane?
My take on Citizen Kane is, the first time I watched it a few years back, I liked it. I was like, Citizen Kane, got to watch it, and it's good.
Greatest movie ever made.
Yeah, every time I watch it, I notice something new. Every time I watch it, it gets a little bit better and better and better to the point that I find myself being like, okay, I really do see why this is considered one of the greatest movies ever made. There is a lot of merit in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like it a lot. I don't think it's my favorite Orson Welles movie, and I feel like I feel so pretentious when I say that, but I really love Chimes at Midnight that he shot, like one of his later movies. I'm always like trying to convince people, our friend Patrick, like, no, like Chimes at Midnight is my favorite. It's the best one. But yeah, still love Orson Welles. Like Orson Welles is one of the directors of that time period who you can watch and be like, he really is very modern, filmmaker. Or was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've only seen one Howard Hawks movie, and I saw it very recently, but I think you could say the same thing about him as well.
Definitely. Yeah. All the big directors, they kind of, they're a big deal for a reason because they stick out and they're it's timeless movie.
And even the ones that don't feel very modern, like your Frank Capra's and stuff like that. Like you wouldn't see a Frank Capra movie today. Like that's just not how the world is anymore.
Is Judd Apatow the Frank Capra of our time? I was like, what's the closest thing to a Frank Capra?
Who is the closest thing to a Frank Capra? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, it's possible. What are some old movies I've been quickly what have I been on? What have I been watching? Oh, also, side note, Titan. Check that movie out. That shit's crazy.
Titanic?
Titan.
Oh, Titan.
Yeah, so I got really into, I don't know if I talked about it, but I got really into a Marlene Dietrich phase during COVID, actually. Have I talked about that?
No?
Oh. Well, so I got a projector, and I was living at my parents' house when 2020 happened, and I went through all the Marlene Dietrich von Sternberg movies from before the Hays Code. So they could be they could talk about sex and drugs and stuff like that, rock and roll. And the Marlene Dietrich movies by von Sternberg are pretty great. They've got what's his face? Gary Cooper in a few of them, Cary Grant's in a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're huge. They're pretty big, but they weren't how they became. But those are really worth checking out. All those early Hays Codes also kind of blow your mind because you're like, oh my gosh, they're doing that in the 20s or 30s.
And then for the next 40 years or whatever, movies just become completely sterile.
You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Like grandparents, got it.
Yep.
And then before that, they're doing heroin and they're crazy, shooting each other. Okay, that seems more like it.
Yeah, the movies are crazy.
Oh yeah, I saw the first Nightmare Alley a little while back, which is, I actually like it way better than the new one.
Yeah, The new one didn't blow me out of the water.
Me neither. And
Yeah.
like it
I
should
like
have.
the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, yeah. Because it had like an amazing cast, an amazing director, amazing story, great book. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't
But
work.
no, I would definitely check out the original Nightmare Alley for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think another one that was remade recently via Netflix was Rebecca. I think they
Oh
made,
yeah.
I think Howard Hughes made Rebecca.
Nope.
No, it wasn't Howard?
Hitchcock.
What?
It
Yeah,
was,
why did I say Howard Hughes? I just had Howard
yeah,
Hughes on my mind. I knew it was Hitchcock.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I would check that one out.
Howard Hughes wanting to make it though. He would do it.
Did he really?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No, but he might have, I guess, if he wasn't so crazy.
He wanted to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you like the new version? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was very, very okay.
Mhm.
I think Armie Hammer was in it. Yeah.
Plays a good like evil rich guy.
Yeah, he does play a good.
He blows it. He's like,
It's interesting, isn't it?
yeah. I'm thinking he's gonna make his comeback.
You think Armie's gonna make his? I don't know, man. I
Find out all that cannibalism stuff. It's gonna go away.
I know it's like you hear that and then you watch like Sorry to Bother You and like stuff like that.
You're like, yeah, he was really good as that rich dude that ate human people. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like the original Rebecca. I was recently reading a Paul Thomas Anderson thing and read that Phantom Thread was supposed to be very like Rebecca,
I could see that.
similar to Rebecca.
Yeah, I could see that. Mhm.
Yeah. Which is one I've been meaning to rewatch. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Another weird one from PTA.
Yeah. He makes some gems.
But Licorice Pizza also, I failed to mention, and Moonfall from this. Well, I guess that was the year before, but
Yeah, that was 2021. But
yeah.
mhm.
That's
Yeah, it
been
doesn't count. Doesn't matter anymore. It's old.
matter. It's old.
Yeah, stupid.
More people should talk about Moonfall. Also,
Is that the Roland Emmerich one?
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Amazing. It's worth watching.
I love Roland Emmerich, except for Independence Day, which is
That's crazy.
that very bizarre quirk of mine.
Baffling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember it's our friend Patrick likes Independence Day but hates War of the Worlds, and you love War of the Worlds and don't like Independence Day, right?
Yeah, but War of the Worlds is a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg were working together, making some bangers. But
That's right.
Mhm.
Minority Report.
Yep.
One. Yeah. Hot take. What's your favorite movie of the year so far?
My favorite movie of the year so far, biased is Elvis, unbiased is Top Gun.
My favorite is Nope. Excited for you to see that.
I'm excited to see it too.
Yeah. Well, I think that sums up our episode of Moviemood. Next time we'll be talking about Nope. And we'll be talking about more movies.
Yeah,
So
Jordan Peele for sure.
like, follow, and we'll talk to you guys later. We'll